Other than all these rapey what else do we got that's big in there? Isn't there some other?
And that's just the tip of the that's just the tip of the iceberg.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Put Me Over podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Put Me Over podcast, episode 109. I'm your host, Andrew Gomez, a.k.a. The Mez, joined today by my lovely, wonderful, beautiful co-host. To my left, you know him, you probably hate him. It's Julio, we're talking to you. He is the Pinoy powerhouse, the handsomest man alive, the COVID cutie, Byron Pagdalao.
Hey guys, what's up? Man, you with the big win today, you fucks. Good job.
And also joining us, you know him, you love him. He is the $100 man, Bobby Diaz.
What's up, baby? Let's talk some wrestling.
And rounding out the crew, you know him, you love him. He gives us all the dirty news from all the dirt sheets. He is the 10th one of the world, the puncher of walls himself, Ticklish himself, Richard Garcia.
Oh, wow. Hey, what's up, everyone? If you're alive, good. If you're not, well,
Sucks.
Yeah, sucks.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're not missing out on much, believe me. You're not. Holy fucking Christ, dude. We're like at the end of June. We're near the first half of 2020.
Is it June? I feel like it's still March.
It's gonna be July in a couple
for some
days.
For some people, they're still living in March.
Yeah.
We're halfway done with 2020.
I seen a meme that like someone keeps trying to fix the future, but they fuck something up along the way, like Back to the Future status, where like he stepped on a bug and it messed up something else in the other timeline. So like they keep fucking up 2020. Like first it's the pandemic and like, oh shit, we got to go back try to fix that. And then it's the murder hornets. And then they got rid of the murder hornets.
Where are they?
But now we're dealing with all this other cop killing and everyone hates each other right now.
Locust swarming in some parts of the world.
Locusts?
Yeah, that's happening right now.
The Saharan desert wind that's just blowing over onto the Caribbean and the southern states. I think that's happening this weekend, if I'm not
Holy
mistaken.
Shit. We're gonna have to.
There's
repent
a lot
to the
of shit going on right now.
You guys need to repent to the Monday Night Messiah, guys.
There you go.
Confess your sins to Seth Rollins and save your life. We got Chris D'Elia in the news. There's
all comics are bastards, bro. Like I'm sick of them. I hate that whole crew now. Like
ACAB.
What's that?
All comics are bastards.
All comics are bastards.
Well, that crew specifically with like D'Elia. I think Brendan Schaub is a piece of shit. He's annoying. Brian Callen seems like he's a piece of shit now. But yeah, it's a whole different thing out there.
The only one that's good is Will Sasso.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's so much going on right now.
What a world.
We're gonna get into all of it, or as much as we can.
We're gonna try at least.
But basically, all of you heroes are pieces of shit. So let's get into it. But before we do any of that, we got to give it up to our sponsors. We got to give it up to lapeliad.com. If you're in the market for some wrestling merchandise, go to lapeliad.com. Use our promo code PUTMEOVER. And in turn, that website will put you over. And you'll get 20% off your order there. Also, make sure to go check out our good friends at Grudge Match Brand and Grudge Match Brand on Instagram. Turn on them notifications. They're going to be dropping some new hot fire stuff. I already have an order in for their Tiger Mask, Tiger Army mashup, the Misfits, and La Parka shirt. Those are instant buys, so make sure you go check them out. They're putting out just quality shit nonstop. And also, while you're at it, go check out our store if you want. Go to putmeoverpodcast.com for all of your Put Me Over podcast wants and needs. Get a t-shirt with my face on it. Everyone will be like, oh, who's that guy? Like, oh, it's his podcast institute. And then you guys will probably be best friends after that because you guys probably like wrestling. So with that being said, we have a promo code too, Kofi Forever, Kofi the number 4 ever. Get 20% off your order there. So, I mean, what better time than now? Get yourself a sticker, get yourself a koozie, get yourself a phone case, hoodie, hat, you name it, we got it. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the plugs. Now let's get into the dirty news. Let's get into some Dick's dirty news. Take it away, Dick.
You know, of all the times that you've introduced the segment to Dick's Dirty News, this is probably going to be the most literal dirty news that we've done so far.
Filthiest.
I'll be honest with you. I think part of last week we didn't want to do the podcast was that the accusations that we heard about, I guess for lack of a better term, sexual deviants, sexual aggressors, whatever you want to call it. It was just a tip of the iceberg, and we started hearing more and more wrestlers coming out, more and more accusations by the wrestlers. Earlier you mentioned about Chris D'Elia. Yeah, Chris D'Elia was also caught up in some shit on Twitter with an apparently underage girl, but that was cleared up. His PR representatives did release emails saying that it was contrary to what the accuser was saying. But the point of it was like, this was a week where like, if you've done shit in the past that is questionable and it affects someone else, especially if you're in the wrestling business, you were going to get called out, especially if you're in the British wrestling scene, because that just seems like that's where you saw like the most accusations, and it affected people like Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, Jordan Devlin, just to name a few others. Jack Gallagher was released by WWE earlier this week because of what happened he did at a party. And
what did he do? What did Jack Gallagher do?
He was accused of I guess going to a party and hooking up with a girl who was inebriated, and she refused, but he forced himself onto her. In Gallagher's defense, he said he was blackout wasted when that happened, so he didn't quite recall, but he said he was at the party. So maybe that did happen, maybe it didn't happen, but I guess it was enough for WWE to be like, you know what, we don't want anything to do with them. Maybe that wasn't the only reason why, but that there was the accusations with him.
Not a very gentlemanly thing to do.
No, definitely not. And then with Marty Scurll,
keep it kayfabe, bro. You're a gentleman.
Yeah,
always be a gentleman.
This was probably before that. I mean, this is absolutely before that.
Yeah, he like ripped her skirt and like was really aggressive trying to get into the bathroom with her. It was really gross.
Jesus. Fucking British,
creepy.
That's
that was
crazy.
Capital C.
Yeah. And then
wow.
But Marty Scurll, this also affects him because Ring of Honor is also doing an investigation as far as what happened. Scurll did release a statement, and he's legally what he did was legal because the age of consent in the UK is 16.
Perfect.
But we got to bump that up. I mean, maybe revise that law a little bit,
Yeah.
And
it's legal,
whether or not
it's
16, okay. Whether or not if it's legal or not, you're 10 years older than her. You're a much older person. You should know that this is not a good idea.
It's still a kid. It's still a child, a teenager.
It just reeks of like, hey, something could happen, especially nowadays where, you have the internet, you have social media where like, hey, I didn't do this, but yet there's evidence suggesting otherwise. Not that I'm saying there was evidence, but he released a statement saying, yes, it did happen. It was illegal. What I did was illegal, but I didn't do anything wrong. Now what I did was, he said what he did was wrong. Like he did go with the minor, but legally it was okay.
He said something like he thought it was consensual, but after hearing her, he realized that it wasn't. He's trying to save face.
Yeah.
Still not a good idea to try to hook up with a 16-year-old girl, though. Just
no, absolutely not.
And you got to think about this because, these guys are huge. Like, they're rock stars pretty much. And like, come on, man. Like, you can get any girl, anybody, right? And you're going for these underage girls, dude. Go get someone your age, man. Come on. Is it that hard?
Why do you have to rape people? Like that's what's tripping me about the D'Elia and then all these wrestlers. Like, dude, you guys are charismatic enough, obviously. Like, just go talk to a girl and you'll probably have a shot, you fucks. It's wild.
And then in the midst of all this, I'm not sure if you guys heard of a term called gray rape.
Nope.
Gray rape?
Gray rape.
Sounds like something aliens do.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It's I was not aware of this term until recently, and it was what was his name? The Irish wrestler that wanted to David Starr. He was the one that that pretty much used the phrase "gray rape" because he had a lot of accusations thrown his way, where he was accused of doing stuff against with women who didn't consent, who wasn't consensual.
That's just
basically the term is where it's like it's kind of like hazy area where that consensual, whether it was consensual or not. So that in itself is a broad term itself. So a lot of things could happen, but basically the point of it being is just it's a lot of he said, she said. We don't know what happened, but the more stories you hear from a lot of other people, then you're like, okay, then something did happen. There's probably going to be smoke to the fire.
Yeah, and that's something that I think about because obviously you want to believe everyone. If someone's been affected by someone else's actions, it should be taken seriously. But at what point do we just believe everybody and then that's like I like to know the full story before I start canceling people because the accusation's usually a lot louder than the rebuttal, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's like the Chris D'Elia thing, like where he was talking to the girl. He didn't know she was underage, but then when she said, "Hey, Chris, I'm 16," he was like, "Oh, peace out, I'm out of here." But she like redacted that part of it, so everyone reacted to just what they saw, and like he was canceled like immediately without even any of that information coming out.
And now he's forever tainted with that information.
Yeah,
he still is.
Yeah, it's over for him. Like, I don't think there's going to be much coming back from it. It's going to take years to get back to where he was at the echelon he was.
Louis still not accepted in places.
No.
But I think Chris D'Elia, his situation too, it turns out that he's done it a lot of times apparently. So there's a lot of people. There's more information coming out as we speak, I think, about like more underage women. I bet you all his friends know. That's why it's kind of extra creepy that he was doing that. And I think there's more and more people coming out. So I think him being scot-free might not be the case yet. I think there's still going to be more evidence of him hooking up with chicks. And there's crazy stories that I heard that's too much to go into right now that people talked about. There's no like proof that it happened, but there's more on eyewitness accounts. So we'll see.
Yeah, I heard about like the hotel thing with him. And like there was a few things like he like exposed himself to them or something like that. But it's damning, dude. Like it's crazy what's going on. Like, I mean, it's good that it's happening because it's putting these guys on blast and like making it known how creepy they are and how shitty they are. Like the Joey Ryan thing, that one's huge. And like it sucks because everyone looked up to him, like thought he was a cool guy, but turns out he's not a cool guy. He's a piece of shit.
Dude, it's crazy because it's not even like we all have that creepy friend or we all know somebody who's a creep and does shady shit.
Yeah.
But like in the wrestling world, by the percentages, it's a pretty big amount of people who are doing these fucking crazy crimes, man. I'm like, fuck.
And like everyone knows everybody. It's not just like, oh, you work for WWE, so you don't know anybody. Like it's all pretty connected.
It's very well connected.
And
Yeah, with Joey Ryan, like the amount of accusations that were released the past couple of weeks was daunting. There must have been at least 12, maybe at least 12 women have come forward, accusing him of doing these things. Like,
I think I was living the gimmick.
He literally was living the gimmick. Yeah.
Keeping a kayfabe, I guess.
There you go.
He definitely did.
I tried talking to him after a PWG show, and he kind of brushed me off. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? I don't think Joey Ryan's that nice of a guy. Because I was just trying to talk about baseball with him, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. And then he just kind of walked off and like acted like I wasn't even there. So
yeah,
kind of had a feeling about Joey Ryan.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had a few encounters with him as well. I mean, the one story that sticks out the most was early PWG. I think it was like 2004, 2005, and I'd gone to like the shows when they were having the shows in Hollywood, and I was with our buddy Joel, and we were just chilling, and he just happened to whip out his camcorder for a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were just
were you there,
I
Byron?
thought whip out cock was gonna be said.
No.
No. Byron, were you there that day when we went to PWG with Joel?
No, I missed that one.
Okay. So
whipped out his I'm sorry, I'm dying. That was funny,
wow.
man. Whipped out his camcorder.
Yeah.
His camcorder.
Yeah, wait for it. Okay, so so we were there, and we were just there filming, and then Joey Ryan pulled us to the side like, hey, you guys can't record, blah blah blah. That was our first interaction we had with them. I mean, and it was civil, but I didn't think like 10, 13 years later down the road, I'd be hearing these stories about, like how much of a just addict he is, or whatever you want to call him. I mean, it's just, it's daunting, and it's affected, it's definitely affected bar wrestling, because they're now no longer running shows.
Yeah, bar wrestling is done. So
yeah, bootleg theater like cut him like super fast.
Is it because of Joey Ryan? It is, huh?
Yes.
Joey Ryan's the owner.
Yeah.
He's the owner of bar wrestling.
Well,
And
I mean,
I
we
think
all
to a
know.
lesser extent, COVID as well, with the fact that they're not running shows, that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's basically PWG light.
We know the bartender from bar wrestling in Bolton Park, and she said like when she first started talking to Joey Ryan, he would act all Mr. like cocky, and he kind of pretty much lived the gimmick. And she told him like, you need to knock that off. Like, I'm not dealing with that. And if you're gonna talk to me, you're gonna talk to me civilly. And like, she put him in his place. And it wasn't until then he started acting like real nice to him. And like, it was a kind of a daunting moment. And I think that's like, I kind of figured like that's where he was like, everyone like just saw the gimmick and was like, oh, he like, that's just the way he is. It's the gimmick. He's living it, But to hear like these like accusations, it sucks, man, because everyone thought he was an asshole, but not like that,
Yeah, I still don't know like the full story of it, but it's not looking good.
Not at all.
No,
It's over for him.
It definitely is. And
Should have took that WWE money while you could, man.
That would be fucked up.
I don't know what's gonna. I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen to him. I mean, apparently, like, not a lot of people would try to reach out to him, and for those that did, they haven't heard from him in almost a week.
He's deactivated everything, right?
He's deactivated everything. He did release a statement on Twitter, and then after that happened, he went ahead and deactivated his account. I mean, rightfully so, because if he kept it up, he would have been like, every comment would have been like, hey, related to the accusation. So he had no choice.
Yeah,
his statement was very like, that's just who I am. I have problems. I'm seeking therapy. I was in a very dark place at that time. And it's like, like, how does it make up for like you're just saying you had problems? Like,
yeah,
that's
you can't just
why
make
you were that way.
You can't make excuses and like that's it.
Yeah, his statement did not look good at all.
It was a long statement that he did post. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but if you want to take a look at it, it's on Twitter, it's on social media. You can look it up. The thing about these accusations is that there's so many out there, and we've only talked about a few. Some of these are true, some of these may not be true, and the ones that aren't true, they have the ability to hurt someone's career. I don't know if you guys remember TJ Perkins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
TJP?
A couple years ago, there was a rumor going around that he was messing around with underage girls.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
And that rumor definitely hurt his push in WWE. He didn't really like. It seemed like there was something wrong with how TJP was being used. They weren't invested in him, or like he didn't try. It just seemed like something was a weird mixture. So he finally was let go. But that rumor kept going on for years and years, and it wasn't until recently that the person who started the rumor, and it actually started on Instagram. It was actually an Instagram wrestling account that started the rumor, had come forward and said, you know what, I made that rumor up. It was it's 100% not true. TJP did absolutely nothing wrong, and he can't really find work. I mean his career in WWE was essentially ruined because of that. So when you have these accusations, I mean, and the way I look at it like this is this: if it's true, yes, there needs to be some serious changes in wrestling, and they need to be held accountable for their actions, especially if it's illegal. You know, it's a serious problem. I mean, we see it happen in Hollywood all the time. Entertainment.
Keep in mind, they cater to kids, so like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a good place for someone that is a sexual deviant into minors. Like, they should not be anywhere near them. And like you were saying, Enzo got caught up with something similar too when they released him, and then the full story came out. I don't know. Enzo's career is pretty much destroyed after that.
Well, with Enzo, it's something different. I mean, he is his own worst enemy, and he'll say whatever's on his mind, and more often than not, that tends to bite him in the ass.
Especially when you make a shitty song about your consensual penis.
There you go.
The song for 2019.
At the same time, though, like, if going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, like, if you did do that shit, yes, you need to be held accountable, and you need to be held responsible according to the law. If it turns out that all these accusations were false and it can damage your career, there should be something in place where, hey, you know, the accuser it's pretty much, it's falsification, it's slandering, and it's ruining people's lives, and they should be held responsible.
You think you can sue for defamation of character. If it is proved wrong, you can definitely sue for. I think people are already doing that.
I think there was this case that I saw where a girl slept with these two football players, but she was still dating a guy. And I guess the guy found out. So she said it was rape, like, immediately.
Oh, and it went to trial, right?
Yeah, it went to trial, and turns out it wasn't. And she only got like a couple years in jail because of it. It was kind of messed up, dude. And it ruined those football guys' career. Like, their career is done. They're never going to make it to the NFL. They're never going to make it to college. They're not going to do any of that. It's done. And now it's ruined just because of that woman.
The accusation is a lot louder than like the clear up or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to believe everyone that, like I said, that comes forward and like has emotional trauma about an interaction they had with someone. But at the same time, I need to know the full story. I can't just hear one side and be like, all right, you're canceled. Because the internet moves fast, dude. And once you're canceled, you're canceled. You're done.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna take you way longer to get out of that hole.
And that's for guys and girls. I just heard a story where someone date raped Keith Lee in the past. That's Keith Lee. That's Keith Lee.
Yes.
What?
They slipped something in his drink, and like they put something in, like they drugged him, and like
it was like
had their way with him. It was a girl did it to him.
Bro,
Really?
That's crazy. I would not think. I think the only way to get him is if you seriously had like 7 horse tranquilizers, like a rhino or something.
Yeah.
Dude, crazy.
But that's
wild.
When I heard that story, I couldn't believe it. I mean, just out of the sheer fact that, well, Keith Lee's this big dude, and how could this big dude be taken advantage of or put in a situation like that? And I think that's the problem as well, is that it can happen to men, and it can happen to men who are perceived as like these big tough guys, you know. Another example would be Terry Crews, where Terry Crews was
just about to say that.
Not Apollo Crews.
He got not Apollo Crews. He got groped by a Hollywood executive, and his gut reaction was that he wanted to deck this dude. He wanted to beat the shit out of him. But if he knew that if he did that, then he would have been playing into their game.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like, it could happen. It can happen to anyone. It's not just exclusive to one gender. It can happen to everyone. And it's definitely a problem. And it's like a reflection on society, with how society is and really the lifestyle. And it's crazy, man. Like, there's just so much.
I think the lifestyle is the main thing of it, because when you're basically on tour you're 300 days out of the year. You're a rock star wherever you go. There's not a lot of checks and balances as far as who you are as a person. And I think that I'm glad that, you know, people are being held accountable for their actions, because you can't just be a piece of shit and continue to get away with it, especially when you're involving children and taking advantage of women that, you know, see you as this rock star character, and you take advantage of that celebrity and you go further than they probably wanted you to. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
So there's
100%.
There's a lot to unpack in all of this, and I'm glad that, you know, women are feeling empowered to be able to say, like, you know what, this happened on this night, and I've been dealing with it. I've been depressed, and I've never felt comfortable with it, and these people can't just get away with it. Same standard we're holding to police officers when they're assaulting people in the streets for doing nothing wrong. I think everyone should be held accountable for their actions. Now, if it's something that happened like 20 years ago and that they're a different person than they were then, I don't know where the line is, but I think if you fucked up, you should
Where
be
would you
held
draw
accountable.
the line? That's a good question. And I don't want to say case in point to this, but I guess we'll bring up Sammy Guevara, because he was also involved with things he said, and things he said more rather he said than what he did, rather. And
Yeah.
it was a couple years ago on a podcast, and the subject was about Sasha Banks, and he pretty much said, like, you know, she's so hot, and, you know, I want to effing rape her, blah, blah, along those lines. And
Not the best.
Yeah,
It wasn't even along those lines. That's
Definitely
exactly
not.
what he said.
it's
Yeah,
exactly what he
That's
said.
exactly what he said.
Yeah.
That show, I used to follow that. It's called The Whole Fucking Show. He's on YouTube. He says a lot of outlandish, crazy things, and to me, it sounded like Sammy was just playing to the audience.
I think so too.
Because of all the shit. Like, I mean, we get kind of racy sometimes too, but you know, that guy takes it to a whole nother level. I don't think that Sammy would have done that, but like he said in his statement, he actually reached out to Sasha Banks and they cleared the air. And he's like, dude, I was a shitty indie wrestler 4 years ago, and my life has changed so much. I don't, that's not who I am anymore as a person. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that him and Sasha were adults, and, you know, nothing happened, but it's still a really shitty thing to say.
Yeah, and now it's affecting him because he's suspended from AEW, and they have him doing these classes basically to, I guess, what's it called?
Like sensitivity trainings.
Sensitivity training. Thank you.
Yeah.
So his status for now is kind of up in the air. Like, is he going to come back after AEW?
Man, and he was
should
on his
come
way
back?
up
I mean,
too.
there's more questions and answers for that, and we'll just have to wait and see. And he's not the only one that in AEW
I had a question.
is going through this. Go for it.
What happened to Havoc? Is that what you're going to talk about?
I was going to go with Jimmy Havoc as well, because
He's another one.
Yeah.
he's also another one. And at the moment, he's going through rehab because he's had problems with substance abuse. He's made that pretty open about it. And then on top of the accusations as well, because he too is also accused of other things as well. His status is also up in the air. You can't fire someone if they're going through rehab. So we'll see what happens after that. See if AEW wants to keep him after that, or if they're going to have to let him go. You know, we'll see.
Him and Kip Stadium, we're on the up.
Yeah.
On the upswing.
Yeah.
On Impact.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Other than all these rapey motherfuckers, what else do we got that's big in there? Isn't there some other?
And that's just the tip of the that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I feel like we can move on. I don't know. It's a really shitty situation.
There's really no good news. Like, there's really no good news at the moment that I would want that we could talk about. The COVID cases in Florida are rising sharply, and it's definitely affected WWE because a couple of days ago, Renee Young posted online that she tested positive for COVID-19. Kayla Braxton, same thing as well, and Adam Pearce. There were 3 prominent and Jamie Noble. So 4 prominent names in WWE that have tested positive for COVID that we know of. And the scary thing is, there's more. There's probably going to be more.
Well, keep in mind, Adam Pearce and Jamie Noble are producers, and they are face to face with talent, going over matches and storylines and things like that. So they probably have the most contact, other than a referee or someone. That is not good, especially with WWE's testing, the way they test, the lack of masks that they want to use on air. Not a good recipe. For
the way they test for that company with all the money they have is a fucking joke.
They do the same test that I have to take whenever I get acupuncture. They check my temperature and make me fill out a questionnaire if I've had contact with anyone with COVID.
Are you serious?
That's it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Come on, man.
I think WWE has the money that the NBA has, around the same, and the NBA looks like they're gonna get kicked off soon, but they look like they got it figured out. As far as being in that bubble, it looks like that place is gonna be the safest spot in the world, I think.
Same with MLS; they're gonna be in the same area.
Right. I'm envious of those guys because, for one, they get to play sports, and they're gonna be, they're gonna have the best facilities to make sure everybody's okay. And if somebody does happen to get it, then they'll treat it right away. So I mean, it's kind of really negligent and irresponsible for this to happen. Fucking Dana White's figured it out. The biggest,
right?
The biggest piece of shit of them all. Next to Vince McMahon.
The guy who doesn't want to wear a mask. He ended up figuring out more than Vince McMahon. I honestly, it just seems like it's from the top down, just a lack of accountability by the company.
I think that they were only following suit with what Trump said. The more testing you do, the more positive cases you're going to get. So just why not test at all, right? I mean, isn't Vince in his cabinet,
I seen someone liken that to immigration. Of course, if you do these ICE raids, you're going to find, illegal immigrants. We should just stop that, and there'll be less undocumented immigrants in this country, right?
It's the same principle. It really is the same principle of ignorance, just being blatant. It's so stupid.
Being happy with ignorance is not going to help solve our problems. But we are number one though ignorance in the world of COVID cases.
Yeah.
Italy, America, dude.
Number one.
USA
Italy,
number one.
It's crazy because Italy looked like Chernobyl in the beginning, and now they're back, they're flourishing again. And the rest of the world is starting to go on, but dumbass Americans can't figure it out. Damn.
We're like the laughingstock of the world right now, and I just don't know.
They're ready to ban us from traveling anywhere. We can't go to they're gonna ban us from traveling to Europe.
I don't blame them.
I don't either. I mean,
at this point, if you're pretty much you're on self-preservation mode. You want to keep your population as healthy as they can, and by traveling abroad, which is another thing that I wanted to talk about WWE, is that New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, they issued a 14-day quarantine ban. So if you're flying into the tri-state area, you have to quarantine for 14 days. There's a lot of talent, both in AEW and WWE, that happen to live in that area, especially the executives. Vince McMahon lives in Connecticut. The WWE executives live in Connecticut and New York.
And Kenneth is from Connecticut.
Exactly. So how do you like?
That was an Eminem joke.
Oh,
Got him.
Got me. Way to ruin my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, it's just
you said Connecticut, and I was like, who else lives in Connecticut? Oh, Kenneth from Connecticut.
I lost my train of thought, but.
But these everyone that lives in that area.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be hard to enforce that, though. It's going to be difficult to enforce it, but at this point, it's not going to get any better. We're going through. I don't even think we stopped the first wave. So we're still riding it.
We're still in the first wave.
It is what it is.
I think
it's only going to get worse.
WWE just needs to chill out for 2 weeks. They have a whole library on the WWE network they can draw from. Just show us some classics. Just be like, you know what, guys? We can't do a live show right now. This pandemic has ravaged our roster. People don't want to come to work. So to make a healthy working environment, let's just show classics from fucking WrestleMania or Undertaker's greatest matches. Give me that for Raw and SmackDown.
Dude, all they need to do is just do a looper YouTube video and just do the top 10 best wrestling da-da-da-das, you know? And just replay that like for the next 3 weeks. Just to
give me some top 10 countdowns. Right? Or
they can have the wrestlers do commentary over their greatest matches. Like, I'd be down for that. That'd be the shit.
You know what I just thought of? The Food Network has this show where they talk about their best sandwiches or best this. Dude, they can have their wrestlers say oh, this is my most favorite match. This is the reason why. Da 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 da. And then they have another wrestler. This is my favorite match. This is the reason why. Blah 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 blah.
Well, they have the network, and they have a plethora of documentaries and material that they can use, and they should be using that. I mean, if it does come down to the point where hey, you know what, we may have to shut down for a while, they can absolutely do that. I mean, there are ways around it. It comes from one man, and Vince McMahon's mentality is that at the moment it's well, wrestling's a necessity. Things are so bad right now that we're here to cheer the fans up. But at the same time, you're putting your employees, let's call them employees, because I'm not going to call them independent contractors.
Well, they are.
Fucking employees in danger.
They don't deserve health benefits.
They don't. Just kidding.
But no, I don't know how us 4 normal guys doing a wrestling podcast can come up with ideas for them to help make their shows safer and better. It's got to be something they've considered, right? You would think.
Do you think Fox would be down with that? They'd be yeah, go do that. Do that for 3 hours. That sounds cool.
See, I don't know. Well, 2 hours.
That's the thing.
They also just Fridays and 3 hours on Mondays.
They just canceled WWE Backstage too, so that show's kaput.
Well,
not surprised.
No, but the viewership was very low, even with CM Punk, because he wasn't on every week. Whenever he was on, the numbers would spike. But
pipe bomb.
Put that on SmackDown. I don't know.
I don't know what they were thinking in launching another WWE themed show. It just was not a good idea.
It had its moments, and I felt like they were gonna shoot on angles and stuff, and they did a little bit. But then I feel like WWE just shut it down. No, we need to make this more story driven and not. I don't know.
It just was not. It was just. I think it was just too much. It was way too much. It wasn't necessary. I didn't feel like WWE Backstage. I was I probably saw maybe the first episode, and after that, I wasn't invested into that show.
Well, also you got to remember they have a show just like it on the network called The Bump, and it's pretty much the same show. So there was no need for it. But WWE wants to diversify their bonds, so I don't know. I really just want to say
the main theme about this is that this is going to be a record profit year for them. Their TV contracts are going to carry them well into the future. They have a lot of money.
And I hear cuts are coming too. More cuts are coming.
More probably, but there should be no excuse to skimping on the testing. That's
AEW knows how to do it. I don't know why WWE can't get with the program.
I don't know. And furthermore, what I don't understand is why do you feel the need to bring people like Jerry Lawler and
Ric Flair was just on Raw.
On Raw, these guys in their 70s. Flair is, he might be healthy right now, but a couple of years ago, he's had some serious health problems.
Absolutely.
I don't know why he thought. I mean, I guess it must be that wrestler mentality where when I'm called upon, I'll I'll put on my A game. I
That
just
Healthy
don't
has
understand
like a big
why you want to put
asterisk.
yourself in that situation. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they think Ric Flair is going to pop a rating. I don't need to see Ric Flair live on TV. He could Zoom from home.
Yeah, like I do like what they're doing with him, but let's wait till it's safe for the old ass dude, please.
Yeah.
I wish in the perfect
yeah.
world it's the perfect gimmick for him right now. Like that's the role that Ric Flair should be playing, but not during a pandemic. That affects old people. So let's watch that fool, please.
He's a national treasure. We need to keep him safe.
Yes, and he almost died.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler almost died too. I'm glad he's not around anymore.
For a number of reasons.
But yeah, they as far as like what was I gonna say right now? Raw goes. Do you guys want to talk about the shows at all? I feel like we're.
I think we can pick out highlights. Oh, well, you did miss one big piece of news, guys. Undertaker retired officially.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that. Is it official? Do you think he has one more in front of a crowd match?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we were talking about it before, right? Like I think he needs that farewell live match where they can give him the adoration that he so loves, according to the Last Ride documentary. It seems.
Go watch it if you haven't, by the way.
So good, so good.
It is by far the best documentary WWE has done. And the way that they did it, the 5-part series, I mean, they could have done more than 5 parts. There's just so much I think there's so much they left out. But for what they produced, it's amazing. And to answer the question, it just seems like it's an open-ended question because a lot of people were assuming that Taker's going to retire. Taker's officially retired. But he never uttered the words, "I'm retired" or "I'm done." He never uttered it. So he kind of left it open to everyone's interpretation. But on Friday, for SmackDown, if you look at the intro for SmackDown, they did a really nice montage with Taker, and it kind of made everyone seem like, or the company seem like that, hey, Taker's done. Like he's called it quits, even though he officially didn't say those words. So
yes. SmackDown, the first hour was pretty much dedicated to Undertaker. They showed the Last Ride, or they showed the Boneyard match from WrestleMania, and then the hype videos that WWE makes are just second to none for anything.
When they put their mind into it and they have something to sink their teeth into, when they do the promo bids, if it's something they want to do, absolutely.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, AEW.
Real quick, let me answer your question real quick. So you mentioned if this is going to be the last time we're going to see Taker in the ring. 30 years is going to be the date, it's going to be 30 years for this upcoming Survivor Series since he first premiered. 30 years to the day.
I'm okay with not seeing him ever again.
I don't know. I mean, I think he should have retired a long time ago, but the fact that he kind of left it open-ended toward the end of the documentary makes me think that there is going to be one more match for him. And in a perfect world, if COVID didn't happen, if we're not going through the pandemic, 100% he's going to have one more match. And it should be at Survivor Series if that's going to be the case.
That's what I was saying. And he can get away with the traditional Survivor Series match.
Oh yeah,
he wouldn't have to be in the ring the whole time, and he could just deliver a tombstone, send everyone home happy. Have it be Team WWE versus Team NXT or something like that. I think that'd be really cool to see, like Ciampa or Adam Cole versus Undertaker.
Yeah, get
for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think that I'd sign me up for that. But after that, that's it. I mean,
that's it. Come on.
You've given so much already. Dude, in the Last Ride, when they show his hip surgery and they show like his fucking hip wide open, and where they basically took out the ball socket for his hip and then put in like a chrome ball. That's his hip now, which is crazy to me that's like a normal surgery.
Yeah.
That's a typical hip procedure.
I mean, he's up there in age too, man. You got to think about that. Like he's 55.
50. Oh,
55.
God.
He's in his mid-50s.
So
yeah, he's given enough.
I think he's given enough, man. I think it's at the age where just hang it up, man. Hang up that hat and hang up that coat. Put those gloves away. Call it a day.
We tried doing that, and they brought him back.
He tried.
He tried doing that when he lost to Roman.
But like you guys said, with like Flair, Hogan, these guys are company men. They will go back, and they will
the
take
rush
the
you get from a live crowd. I mean, it's addicting. You know,
it is. I mean, I'm sure it is for those guys, because in their heyday, they were, woof. You know,
they were lucky that there wasn't social media. That's what they're lucky for.
They have the feeling where like they have one more match in them, and they're trying to chase that one last good match. And you could tell in the Undertaker documentary that's what he was trying to do, is that he was trying to get his one last good match. And with AJ Styles, I mean, he, even though it wasn't technically considered a match, it was a great cinematic piece that they were able to do to highlight the Undertaker's strengths. You okay?
That hurt my ears.
What happened?
Was it me?
There was a noise, and like, because I have to have your guys' levels so high that it just shot right in my ears. Anyways.
Oh man.
Well,
he wants
So
to
what do
get
you
that
guys
last high.
Yeah, he'll get it. I swear. There's no way he's not having one more match. But is there anything during the week that you guys particularly love in the week in wrestling? The slow weeks in wrestling, as we like to say.
Oh man.
Particularly loved. I couldn't really tell you anything. I loved AEW. I thought AEW was awesome. I watched Raw and Dynamite back to back, and it's just crazy to me how much of a better show AEW is across the board compared to what they give us on Raw. I can't say the same for NXT. SmackDown was actually pretty decent this week too for the 3 matches that they gave us. I like what they're doing with MVP and Lashley and Apollo Crews. I think that
Good.
has big implications for Apollo Crews. I also like what they're doing on AEW with Colt Cabana and the Dark Order. Because I would never think Colt Cabana would join the Dark Order, but he's tired of losing, and Brody Lee's telling him, like, you can join us and you don't have to be a loser no more. And then they won their match, and he's like, doesn't that feel good? And he's like, yeah. He's like, now we're going to show SCU how we do things. And then Colt's stuck in the situation, like, wait, those are my friends. Like, I don't want to destroy them. But, you know, it's a good story to tell.
It reminds me of the church scene. I am deliberate.
I will not carry purse. I will not put on makeup. I'm excited for Cage and Mox. I think
Assuming
Mox
Mox is ready to go. If
That's
he's
true.
ready to go by then. We'll see. I mean, I think so far what they've done with Cage, they've done a really good job at hyping Cage up, especially with Taz. I mean, pairing Taz with Cage was the best thing that they could have done.
The human suplex machine and the machine.
The Taz, because Taz could still deliver a promo.
Oh yeah,
Oh, of
yeah.
course.
You could feel his words every time.
That never goes away either. That's like
I never knew that he was so good on the mic, and he still has it. Like, it was so good. I'm loving every second of this. Well, because I like Brian Cage, so I think he's the Wolverine. He's dope.
When you're doing commentary, it still keeps you on your toes, you know.
That's true.
So he can go out and cut a promo like that, no problem. I even liked the lumberjack match. I thought Luchasaurus and Wardlow had a great match.
Who won?
I think
Who won?
Wardlow won.
Wardlow.
Clean? No
And
shenanigans.
there was a low blow involved, but
Yeah.
that is showcasing. You know, a lot of people say AEW just has a bunch of small guys, but those are 2 big motherfuckers that can go out there and put on a good match.
How big is that motherfucker? Is he like 6'5"?
Wardlow, he's up there. He's tall. I mean,
Yeah.
He's wide.
So is Luchasaurus.
He's a wide dude.
Oh, Luchasaurus is like
probably like 6'6", dude.
But the thing about that match, like, it was a good match, but like, you didn't really necessarily need the lumberjacks. I mean, they played into the part later on during the match where they were pretty much being crash test dummies for the big
catching
guys.
duties. Yeah, freaking Luchasaurus did a moonsault off the stage onto a pile of people.
That was dope.
You don't see a lot. You don't see that happen ever.
No.
With the big guy like that. And then Orange Cassidy and Jericho are having a great program too. I'm actually
intrigued by
really
that.
excited for that.
I'm intrigued for those two. I actually want to see what they're going to be able to do. They're really promoting Orange Cassidy, and why not at this point? I mean, you see someone who's hot, who's over, and even right now with no crowd, how do you define who's hot and who's over? I mean, he was before the pandemic, so they're running with it, and it's another point for Jericho, and I think Jericho will put him over and make him look even better.
I agree. I think Jericho is going to do the JMB.
I like what they're doing with the FTR. I think it's pretty good.
They're building that up. They're building up that dream match with the Young Bucks so much.
Mm-hmm. Their tag match with them and SCU was great, and it was like a welcome. It was a welcome replacement because originally it was supposed to be FTR versus QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, but
QT Marshall has COVID, right?
He was with someone. He tested negative, but he was with someone who was around someone that tested positive for COVID. So basically, they didn't want to take any chances whatsoever.
Yeah.
Are they stopping taping of any sort for AEW because of COVID right now? Since Florida's so bad, or are they going to keep going?
They're going to keep, from what I've heard, they're going to keep going, and really they can't really afford to stop taping because they have to that's really where their money's being made at the moment is that they keep taping shows, they have to keep producing shows.
It's the one show too. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Not WWE doing like a shitload of shows.
So and I say that at the moment because things can absolutely change. They can change on a whim. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow we might hear that WWE might have to shut down for a couple of weeks, but really both companies have to shut down, and it's definitely going to be more impactful for AEW than it is for WWE.
Yeah, AEW doesn't have the luxury of having a lot of old footage to bring out.
The library.
I think I don't know. I think it's funny that SmackDown. Well, WWE is coming under fire for not allowing. I guess the report was they don't want people wearing masks on TV. So they were getting in some hot water on the internet for that policy. And then, curiously enough, everyone has masks on SmackDown. Like, you sell masks. Wouldn't you want people to be wearing those masks to help sell masks on your website? Like, I feel like I'm not really business savvy, but that would make sense to me, especially because everyone needs a mask right now, right?
Everyone who has half a brain is saying that. Like, you're in the middle of a pandemic. Why
Psycho Sid was saying that. He has half the brain that you do.
Exactly. Come on. Even Sid got it. You're in the middle of a pandemic. Why don't you hawk your mask?
I would do. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer.
But you got to think about it in Vince's thing. It's like, oh, you're not going to be able to hear them screaming and yelling, and
it shows weakness.
Muffle that, and you got to think of it in his sense. And I think that's probably where he's coming from with it. So I don't know. I think just wear it. Who cares? Like, just do it. But
to be courteous to other people,
man.
That's the main thing.
I'm glad you brought up like not being able to hear things because on SmackDown, was it just me or did they pipe in crowd noises during certain portions of the matches?
They definitely did.
They did.
Because I could hear like reactions, but then I look at the crowd and no one's doing anything.
Okay, so I wasn't tripping on that then, because that's what I also heard as well. That's what I also saw. So the argument of like, well, you can't wear with a mask and not hear anything is bullshit. They're gonna do that.
To be honest, after watching Premier League for like the last couple of weeks, they pipe in noise from with the crowd.
I like it a lot.
I'm all for it, dude. Why don't they just do it? Just get it over with. Pipe in some sound and get it over with. I'm perfectly fine with it.
I think it helps the performers too. I honestly think it gives those soccer players a bit of normalcy.
I wonder if it's in the stadium though. Like, I don't know if it's in the stadium because they might be just pumping it just for TV sense.
Because you can watch on the MS or on the NBC app. You can watch the games, and that you can have the alternate with no crowd noise.
Oh,
so I don't think it's pumped through through the system.
Damn,
I think WWE needs to take a bite out of that and start piping in some sounds. Have someone, pushing
like
buttons. Boo! Yay! Boo! Yay!
I mean, they're basically doing that with the live crowd anyway, so why not?
Yeah.
Also, looking every time they like shot to the crowd, they just look burned out, dude. They cut to one guy and he was like clapping along to the music, but just like just really, really unenthusiastic, I guess is the word.
Dude, this taping schedule is insane. When they would tape 6-7 hours a day for a couple days out of the week. So when you're taping back-to-back shows, just like how, and I'm sure we've mentioned this numerous times. As a fan, when you're in a crowd for hours on end, it's gonna get draining. You're gonna lose that stamina. You're not gonna be how you were at the beginning of a show.
Dude,
It's
100%.
When I would go to bar wrestling, standing there for 3 hours, I'm like, fuck, when's the show gonna end, dude? And I loved being there, but at the same time, I'm like, God, this is a lot.
I mean, most of the time we would just go straight to the bar in the front and just wait it out until like the end of the show, or like then go back there. Yeah, it's got to be tiring to stand in that crowd for that long. They just got to pump in some sound, man.
Why don't they give them chairs? Why don't they let them sit down? Why do they have to stand the whole time? I think that's fucked up.
That's something that I didn't get. I didn't get when they first did the crowd interactions with having the PC the PC talent there. I didn't understand that. There's no chairs whatsoever. Like that's
gotta suck.
That sucks.
Dude, and then like bring back signs, like have the wrestlers holding up signs, like, dude, that'd be so dope, man.
AEW does it.
AEW does it.
Yeah, AEW does it. Yeah. But yeah, I think AEW has the better show right now.
Absolutely. Without question. I mean, WWE still has the bank and they have the star power, I feel like. But as far as like getting stories told, I mean, look at the press conference for the Cody match and Jake Hager. They made that title feel like it was a big deal. You know, you had the guy behind Cody holding up the belt like it was a boxing press conference. It adds a layer of intrigue for me. And I normally, you tell me Jack Swagger versus Cody, I'm like, that sounds lame. But the way that they're hyping up this match, I'm like, okay, I want to see this now. You know.
Well, they could honestly, they can have like NSYNC come back for a reunion or any famous band or whatever. I still don't care about Jake Hager at all, dude. That's like trash. Are you kidding me?
Not gonna lie, I'm excited for the match just the way they're hyping it. But as a wrestler,
come on,
not there, bro. Not there.
Yeah, I have that same feeling with Sami Callihan. That guy's just never done anything for me. Like I see him I see him in a main event. I'm just like, I can pass on this one. Probably a nice guy, but it just doesn't do anything for me.
To each their own, I suppose.
You guys got anything else?
Rest in peace, Undertaker. Just kidding. You're coming back soon. That's it. That's all I got.
Wear
a mask. Wear a mask. Stay in. Apparently, bars are the worst place to go right now because that's where you can spread it the most. So don't do that.
Yeah,
dude. I went to go get something to eat earlier this week, and there's this bar like right next to it. They were jam-packed. Nobody wearing masks. Like jam-packed. There was like maybe like 100 people outside in this little makeshift like canopy that they had. It was just those like little canopies. It was like 4 of them all set up outside, and it was just packed with people outside.
That's crazy. Last week we had a part of the reason why we couldn't do the show was I had to go to a funeral, and we had like an after party for the people that couldn't go to the service at this bar in Pomona. And there was maybe 30 people there, but like we couldn't turn the lights on out because they have like an outdoor patio. We couldn't turn the lights on out there because the cops would have came and like shut it down because it's kind of like a secret kind of deal.
Speakeasy kind of.
But I'm like, bro, there's a bunch of cars outside. Like, they got to know something's going on, right?
Who you fooling, dude?
Yeah. But yeah, everyone was safe, and everyone, weren't hugging too much. I guess I don't know. We're safe. I don't have COVID. I need to get tested. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us, downloading, subscribing, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your friends' neighbors. We'll be back next week with another, hopefully not so much of a downer show. Hopefully, maybe we get some good stories in wrestling because we need more good news, I feel like, in this world today. Black Lives Matter. Wear your masks and stay safe. And never forget, we are the new World Order Professional Podcasting, and we will see you next time. 5941.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I got to take the biggest shit right now. I'll see you guys.
All right, yeah, I'll see you guys later.
All right, I'll peace out.
Beef?
I'm down, dude. Hit up Nanda, see if he's still down to play. I'm down to play.
All right. It was really good seeing you. Dick, I haven't seen you in forever, I feel like, but it was really good to see you too.
I know, man. I miss you guys.
Well, hopefully soon we can get together or something.
Hopefully. I hope so.
Nah. Imagine, nah.
Hopefully soon, not.
Hopefully never.
Oh.
Imagine.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
All right, I'll see you.